What's going on, guys? Nate here, and happy late 4th of July to you. This video was actually originally supposed to come out on July 4th, but there were some freedom things that needed my attention. Anyway, today I'd like to talk about Skyrim and its longevity, and when exactly this game will, for lack of a better term, die, go stagnant and or inactive. Mind you, we will largely be relying on PC data here, and for that reason also focusing primarily on the PC. We literally don't have any useful player base information on console. Microsoft and Sony don't really release any of that, so we're only going to allude to console maybe once or twice throughout this video. But I digress. Skyrim has had an unusually long-lasting lifespan in comparison to most other single-player titles, which generally seem to fade out active player-wise after 6 months to maybe 3 years. However, Skyrim still maintains one of the most active player bases in gaming, peaking with about 40,000 players a day on Steam since June of 2015. And before then, it was significantly larger, but just subject to more fluctuation. So I want to ask, when will that all end? Skyrim's been out for 6 very long years now. Well, to answer that question, I think we first need to understand why it's still so popular. And I think most of us already know the answer already, but just humor me here for a bit. There are many examples of even older games maintaining these massive large-scale communities to this day. Minecraft and League of Legends both came out in 2009, and there's other examples as well. Counter-Strike, Global Offensive is a big one. And I think the reason those types of games are enjoying such longevity boils down to consistent developer-publisher support and multiplayer mechanics. Minecraft, CSGO, and League, they're all still receiving these massive updates and patches by their developers, and their publishers are still marketing them. There's a well-backed competitive scene for League and CSGO, and there's still people paying for ads to tell others, hey, buy this game. And multiplayer games also generally just hold more longevity anyway. However, Skyrim has held none of these advantages. It's in an entirely different genre. It's not multiplayer, and until rather recently with Special Edition, it hasn't had much publisher support in the term of updates, patches, and marketing. Now, to be fair, with Special Edition and a port of Skyrim to every single console minus the Ouya, that's somewhat less true now. But even then, the game was holding its own prior anyway. So what gives here? Well, to state the obvious that I think we're all already thinking, Skyrim was still seeing much of the effects of developer support long after it should have stopped. But instead of being provided directly through Bethesda, the modding community filled that void where necessary. If there ever was a game-breaking bug, or perhaps an obvious fix to a UI problem, modders can and always could be depended on to fix it. Additionally, it also allows for a huge surplus of additional content to be injected into a game already fashioned for replayability. If you look on consoles, which didn't have this edge until Special Edition was released, I think you'd likely find that Skyrim was not enjoying nearly the same level of a consistent active player base. Now, to be fair, this is merely an observation of mine, as again, Microsoft and Sony don't provide us with player base information, but from my own experiences and interactions, it doesn't seem as though the Skyrim scene was thriving nearly as well on console as it was on PC. TES 5 was the perfect storm to attract a large modding community. It was subjected to massive critical acclaim, sold extremely well, and as mentioned was already developed with replayability in mind. And to that, Bethesda also gave modders access to a creation kit, and the ability to do, development-wise, pretty much whatever Bethesda themselves could do, minus a few hard-coded things. We give Bethesda a lot of heat for the recent Creation Club announcement, and I do too, but it's very rare that developers and publishers give the community so much power to mod their game, much less AAA developers and publishers. This would suggest that so long as the modding community holds firm, so will Skyrim's player base, and that's only more true now, given that Special Edition is allowing console users access to mods. So this begs the question, what will it take to make the modding scene go away, for lack of a better term? An apparent answer would be getting it to migrate onto another title. If some other game is able to offer modders more in terms of resources, potential audience size, and is something that players are passionate about, it might have a shot at this. Fallout 4 tried to do this, it sold better than Skyrim, offered a similar creation kit, and did certainly build a larger than average modding scene, but it was still nowhere near as big as Skyrim's, and even now, Fallout 4 is peaking at about roughly 40,000 players a day on Steam. The difference here is that Fallout's only been out for a little over than a year, whereas Skyrim's been out for 6. TLDR, it definitely didn't prompt the community to migrate. This could be because people simply weren't as passionate about the Fallout universe as the Elder Scrolls. Others would argue the game just wasn't as good. And there really aren't any other open world RPG games out there that seem like they bode a chance to build a modding scene quite like Skyrim's. Bethesda's really the only AAA studio out there that does this sort of game and gives modders such tools. But even then, it would seem as though they're not even entirely capable of getting their community to move themselves. Starfield, or perhaps more appropriately the Elder Scrolls 6, I'd imagine, would present the best opportunity for the modding scene to want to migrate over, and slowly Skyrim's player base would start dwindling. But there's also a strong possibility that TES 6 will end up like Fallout 4 and just not be received too favorably. So in theory, Skyrim may still have quite a lot of life left in it, so long as no other games come out of the blind side. Its population seems not to be following the normal rule of slowly wearing down, getting smaller and smaller. smaller, and that's in thanks to the modding scene, and so long as that holds, Skyrim may have a significant amount of life left in it, only exacerbated by Bethesda's recent strategy of re-releasing Skyrim whenever possible. So, when will Skyrim die? Well, it's probably not likely that that'll be anytime soon, as strange as it sounds. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always very much appreciated, and leave a comment down below with your thoughts. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Peace out, everybody.